What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Picks and Roll DFS. Yesterday, we went a perfect 3-0, and that's exactly how we build the roll. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, and I'll keep dropping these daily plus EV plays for free. Today, we've got 3 strong plays for the WNBA slate, powered by the data from Outlier and backed by the bankroll support from Betr. Remember, if you use code DIME on Betr, you get $30 free when you deposit just $10. The easiest way to kickstart your roll. So again, quick recap. We absolutely crushed yesterday's board, going 3-0. Every pick we broke down hit clean, and that's the type of consistency we want to keep stacking. Remember, building a roll isn't about hitting a home run every night. Stick to 1 to 2 units per play, scale slowly, and let the math work long term. That's why I like Betr. Smaller deposit, bigger upside. Code DIME still gets you that $30 free on $10. Let's get into the first play for today. Now, I want to give you more options in terms of the plays that I wanted, especially like Morrow, the forward for the Connecticut Sun. Unfortunately, since last night, they haven't uploaded, most sites haven't really put up a lot of different plays or props. Kind of just like the stars, like your Angel Reese's, Cardo, Brianna Stewart. So it's kind of tough to choose some of the options, and then you couldn't even really like choose different options in like within those. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about in a bit. But let's go to our first play for today, which is going to be Tina Charles, higher than 13.5 points. Let's look at some of the data. So line comparison, I adjusted her original line, which I believe is around like 15.5, which if we go there, you can kind of see she's hit that at a 6 out of 10 rate from the last 10 games, 60%, averaging around 16 points, which is still great. And then even if you go to her last 20, she's still around, she's at a 55%, which is pretty good as well. However, not feeling too comfortable with her hitting that against Liberty. So just to make it a bit more conservative of a play, I dropped it from the 15.5 down to 13.5, which you can see is at minus 200. But you can go even more conservative, but obviously just know the more conservative you go, the less payout you get for that specific play. One of the really cool things on Underdog that they do, or like a random parlay that you choose, one of your first ones, they give you like a supercharge now where you kind of like double your pay, but then you also double the result. It's a pretty cool thing that they did, and I got that actually for this play. And I chose, again, Tina Charles higher than 13.5, which is still at minus 200. And you can see that you're not really getting that at any other place. FanDuel, which is one of the sharp books to use in terms of prop bets for WNBA. They had their line set around that 15.5 as well. As you can see, they had that at minus 102. And then we can see her last 20. She hit this at a 65% rate, going above this line 13 out of 20. Again, averaging that 16%. And then head to head, she's hit it 5 out of 9 times. Knowing that a lot of these games also came from last year, only 3 so far from this season, which then makes this a 66% rate because she went over it 3 out of 2 times. And then we can see right here, she probably would have went over it this time, but look at that score. I mean, they lost 100 to 52, so she definitely wasn't playing in the fourth quarter, and she still nearly hit this line. That is play number 1. And then as you can see, all this data I'm showing, hit rates, medians, matchup breakdowns, comes straight from this awesome app, Outlier. It's the exact tool I use to build these slips every single day. I go here to see what the odds are, line comparison, and then I make the decision on what platform I'm going to use for my plays, whether that's PrizePicks, Underdog, Sleeper, Betr, etc. Now you can use the link in the description to check it out and start doing your own deep dives. All right, play number 2. We're going with Angel Reese to get a double-double. All right, let's check it out. Last 9 of her last 10 games, she's hit this for a 90% rate. And in the other one, she barely missed, as we can see here. I'll show you the data, but I just don't want to get off of the screen. But she barely missed it in that Seattle game. And then for the season, she's averaging around 32 minutes, as we can see here, and 11 plus rebounds per game, which locks her in double-double territory almost every single night. And then we can see, when we talk about that line comparison, first thing I saw when I made this decision was FanDuel. Again, one of the sharp books in terms of looking for WNBA props had this favorite at minus 195. We can see other places like Hard Rock Bet, minus 175, ESPN Bet, minus 180, right? So we see that this Caesars, minus 190. And then Underdog, we had it at minus 200. So as long as she stays out of foul trouble, she's one of the most consistent double-double threats in the league. We know that she's going to get those rebounds, right? Especially if Cardoso is in as well. One of the bigs has to block her out, so then that gives Angel Reese more opportunities. Then Sky do a really good high-low with Angel Reese and Cardoso, where Cardoso is usually getting the ball on the block, and then Reese usually seals and posts up around the rim. She just tosses it right over the defender. Easy bucket. They did that multiple times. I believe it was last night. Easy points for Reese. All right, quick pause. If you're getting value from these breakdowns, do me a favor. Subscribe so you never miss a daily pick. Then, hop on Betr with Cold Dime for $30 free on $10. Link in the description. And if you want my full card every day across all sports, not just the freebies here, jump into Winnable. I've got a Founders promo running, but it's closing soon. And once it's gone, it's gone. So don't miss that. All right, and then our last play for today is going to be Chelsea Gray, lower than 1.5 3-pointers made. I'll show you how we got that. So you'll also see me kind of show you how Outlier works in terms of searching for some of these plays, so that if you're interested, you can sign up and start finding your own plays as well. So I go to Chelsea Gray, looking at her 3 points made. We can see the over is at, or the high, higher than 0.5, is at minus 137 on PrizePicks, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that under, looking lower than 1.5 3-pointers. Okay. So we see lower than 1.5 3-pointers at FanDuel is minus 225. We can see that this is favored on Hard Rock Bet as well as Sleeper, and then what we're looking for today, which is Underdog. Then we can look at some of that hit rate. She's going below this line. 90% of her last 10 games, so 9 out of 10 for last games, she's gone below 1.5 3-pointers. Last 20. Again, going below this line, 18 out of 20 for a 90% hit rate. And then head-to-head, she's gone below this line, 100%. 4 out of 4 matchups, although all of those came from last year. And then for the season, still decent percentage. She's gone below this line, 27 out of 38 games for a 71% hit rate. Again, her average is just 1 3-pointer. We can see that over the season, She is making about 1 a game, 32%, and she's usually attempting around 3 to 4 3-pointers a game. And then we get further insights here. She has failed to exceed 1.5 3-pointers in 9 straight games on the road, averaging just 0.4 3-pointers in those games. Now, one thing for concern, and you've seen this in yesterday's plays if you watched and we looked at the data, the Sky do tend to allow threes, but it's primarily to guards like Sabrina and Cloud. Gray's role has been more of like mid-range facilitation. So with the data and trends lining up, we're going to take the lower here. So again, let's recap today's plays. We have Tina Charles, higher than 13.5 points. We have Angel Reese, higher than 0.5 double-double. And Chelsea Gray, lower than 1.5 threes. Drop your favorite pick for today down in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe so you're here for the next sweep. Let's keep stacking wins. And as always, let's build that roll.